Good morning. I'm back in Virginia on the trail. It feels good to be home, as much as I enjoyed Maine. Always dodging people that wouldn't wear masks. It's amazing. And it's men. Women wear masks. Men don't wear masks. It's amazing how stupid men are. Uh, Present company excluded, of course. In the category of stupid men, I wouldn't want to put Moscow Mitch in it. I think that he's not stupid. He's venal. He is craven, and that he doesn't care for the principle of law or justice in any traditional sense. It must be the frustration, if they could possibly have any sentience existence today, for Plato and Aristotle to see that all their programs for how we could separate the appetite of men in government from personal advantage and lend it instead to public service must drive them crazy if they could have any ability to see what we do, although they saw plenty of it. I mean, Aristotle was an advisor to Alexander the Great, so he had a bird's eye view of the venality of man and power. So the power they want to exercise here is to appoint a judge who doesn't believe in the separation of church and state, that would eliminate the right of a woman to control her own body, despite what men might say a woman should do with her body, still treating a woman as a chattel, which is the original text of the Constitution. Women were chattels, property. They weren't persons, just as persons of color weren't persons who didn't own property, couldn't vote. So that is what the Republicans want. That they have so many women who agree with them is startling, but there it is. As a kid in the South Bronx at St. Pius's, taught by the Dominicans, we early on read the scripture. And Jesus said, and don't get me wrong, I'm not religious now, but I do know my book. And in the book it says, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and to God the things that are God. Therefore, separation of church and state. So when as a kid they said, pledge the allegiance, and they changed the words and added the words under God, I refused to say those words, because it was a mingling of the state and religion. Now, as a kid, I wasn't heavily conscious of my Catholicism being a basis of discrimination. But I did know enough that Al Smith didn't become president in large part because he was a Catholic. I did know that the KKK was not just against persons of color or Jews, but also Catholics. I did know that there was a religion that had a history of being the preponderant first religion of America, and it wasn't Catholicism. So the separation of church and state struck me as a strong reason to be careful about a nation becoming a theocracy instead of a representative republic that had no religious basis. Jefferson was concerned about sects if religion became an element of politics, fighting among themselves who of the sect in a single religion would be supported. So we have two candidates that we're talking about, Barrett and Lagoa, and they are very similar in their views. They're both strong Roman Catholics. They are both very comfortable with pro-life, they call it. That is, that a fecundated ovum is a person, and there should be no abortions, and they believe at any time. Is a religious view that they would impose on others, like other bad religious views. Sometime I'll go into transubstantiations. There's a whopper. But so we have this religious caste, and then we have the fact that they would interpret, based on what the founder said in 1787, they belong to the Federalist Society. In other words, they're an ideologue, and they're only appointed for that reason. And Lagoa is in part being appointed because she would help the ticket in Florida as a Latino who was considered by the governor, DeSantis, to be a lieutenant governor on his ticket when he ran for governor. The Democrats, to my thinking, have been too passive. They should flat out call the Republicans venal for what they are, for having lied to America in 2016 that a president couldn't appoint someone, and then they held back 60 seats that Obama wanted to go forward, as well as the Supreme Court nomination. And now they want to rush to judgment in case they lose the election so that they get a cast on the Supreme Court that fits what I've been discussing. What are we to do? Tell your senators to get off their heavy hindquarters and do something to fight this, to fight the content of what she says, and to come up with defunding, to come up with amendments that would change how the court is considered. And do it now. Don't implicitly threaten it. Do it. Show us some courage. Anyhow, I'm out on the trail. I hope you're doing well. And I'll see you again tomorrow in Virginia. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.